Hello and welcome. In this video, we'll learn how the inquiries work. Inquiry in Immicompliance is gathering of information at the first contact with your client or at later time if you feel that this conversation is leading to a case. Okay. Uh, Inquiries can be simple notes. Notes, we already have the feature for notes, so you can add the notes to the contact, or if you do not want to create the contact but you want to create an inquiry every time a contact calls you, you can do that as well. And the inquiry is just a beginning phase of a case that you probably would create based on the conversation and the information you gather. Now, how do we create the inquiry? You can create the inquiry from the inquiry tab here or from any of the contacts in the contact manager. So when you click on the inquiry, this is where you go. Now let me click in one more time, and when you click on this inquiries, you will go to the inquiry list, and from inquiry list you can see there are a bunch of inquiries here. To create an inquiry, when you click on this create inquiry, you will go here, and what we have here is you have to specify a contact who is probably calling in or asking you a question or inquiring about something that you about your services and so on. Now what we have is you can select the contact from list of contacts you have, or you can create the contact at the time of creating the inquiry based on the conversation and information you have. You can create them as a petitioner or applicant or a simple contact. Okay. Now you can also specify if you have multiple practice areas, you can customize the practice areas here and can have your which location this inquiry came in. If you have multiple locations, you have the option to choose that as well. Now we have the inquiry types. These are customizable. You can see that I have some test inquiry and other so on because this is a test account. You can customize this test inquiries, the inquiries types from your settings menu. We'll go there in a bit. But basically what we have here is a basic list of questions that you can gather when someone is asking for your services or calling in to seek your help and so on. Okay. Now the questions you see here can be customized from the settings as well. And also you have the referral source. You can tie it to a referral source if you set up those referral sources from the settings. We can go to the settings. I'll show you how we can customize the inquiry types and so on. Okay, but basically inquiries are just the information gathering step where you gather information from your client, you create the client contact and gather the information based on the inquiry they are contacting about. Now if they say that they want to look for, like they want a consultation about some situation they have regarding employment or family or deportation and so on, these things the front desk can quickly assess that which type of inquiry it is, and it will help the attorney to figure out how to take that conversation further and convert it to case. Okay. Now once we are in the settings, you see all the settings here. You can set up the inquiry types from here, and you can also set up the referral sources from here. I'm going to just go there as well. Now here from the inquiry type settings, you have different custom inquiry types that we already see there. We have some global types as well. You can add your own custom type if you want. Let's say I want to add test inquiry, and I'll just say and this is the new custom type I want to add. You see that that inquiry type is added here in a bit, and you see that when you go to the inquiry type, like if I go here and refresh it, and this is just a tag that you can provide to the type of cases you do, the type of inquiries you handle, the type of situations you help your clients with. So that way you can figure out if you can ask quickly if you're looking for one of these items, or if they say that I'm looking for such and such, and then you figure out, okay, this falls in such type of inquiry, and so on. When you create an inquiry, it will help take it further. So what happens after the inquiry is created? Let's go there. Now we can come to the referrals and all that. It is you can do it yourself. It is very simple there. Now if let's say I create this inquiry, and then once we create the inquiry, at the inquiry creation time, you can also assign a staff member to follow up. But you can do all that. Let me take a inquiry which is created, and then I'll show you what happens once the inquiry is created. Once the inquiry is created, you can assign it to a person, or while you're creating the inquiry, you can assign it to the person to follow up and see if this person, if the client is interested in setting an appointment. You can do that right after the inquiry is created. You can set up an appointment and create an appointment and take it further. And once you complete the appointment, you can go to the pre-case inquiry, pre-case intake, where you can take in more information from the client and convert it to the case eventually from this screen. Like once you see that, okay, this is the inquiry, the client information has been gathered, you took in some of the like basic information initially, you set up the appointment, and the appointment is done, and then further on the client is not ready to start the case, you can have the pre-case intake done at that point, all during the appointment, during the consultation. And when the client is ready and when you are ready to convert it to case, all you can do is convert it to the case, convert inquiry to the case. And since this person is already there, so you have the applicant email, you just provide a title. Let's say I'm just going to say a test case, and basically what all you need to do is figure out if this needs an petitioner or not. If you need a petitioner, add a petitioner, and then who the attorney who's going to handle this case, select the attorney from your list and select the case type as you would do in the create case window, create a case screen. You come here and like I'm just going to say adjustment case. Let's say you can start a case from here itself. So what happened here is you created a case with the inquiry contact, the contact who has inquired about the situation for that particular event, for that particular situation, and then you added the petitioner who is needed to be added, and then you created the case. And what happens when you create the case from the inquiry, you will see the information here in the case intake details. You see what all information you gathered at the time of inquiry in this screen. If you do not have the inquiry, then you would not see this case intake details, because there was no inquiry tied to the case. So if you create a case from the contact, or just come to the case manager and create the case, you will have the case and everything else that you can go through. But in the case intake, you will see nothing, because there was no inquiry tied to it. If there was an inquiry, then you will see all the details tied to that inquiry. Okay, thank you very much.